Social media today, we're seeing the best of people represented on Facebook, happy photos, and that's great. We want people to be happy. But then we feel maybe that we measure slightly lower than that because people are only showing us their public selves. Are we writing only about these happy people and we're somehow terribly flawed, but they're better and they're more accomplished?
I think everyone's lying on Facebook, and I think the lies are interesting, but they are fantasy, yes? They're almost like superhero versions of ourselves. There's something called Malibu Barbie, I think, which is just, it's an app, and Malibu Barbie gets put in all these different locations. One night she's at a beautiful restaurant, one night and it's just to say, the world of what we're putting up on Facebook is just a fantasy. It's just like a fairy tale. This is the life we would like to live, but it's boring. When you look at other people's Facebook and they're in Bali or they're doing yoga and they're beautifully posed, we don't believe a word of that stuff, right? It's all fake. If we were to post our real lives, I did an exercise in class where I had said, I will give you $20 if you take your camera and go take a picture of your bathroom right now without moving anything. Or take a picture of your bedroom without moving anything, the real bedroom. No one will do it because it looks awful, their real bedroom. But if you put that up on Facebook, people would love it because that's how you really live. So real stories are about not the fantasy Facebook, but the compelling stories would be if you took a picture of yourself when you just got up. If you took a picture of your bathroom the way it looks right now. That's fascinating. And the best storytellers give you those personal wounds. And that's why the whole superhero genre of movies right now is boring, it's crashing, it's burning, because people don't really identify with superheroes unless you're 11 years old. The only superhero movie that's really succeeded in the last year, and the best one, is Guardians of the Galaxy. And the reason is you've got 5 deeply wounded people who are all sick, but they start supporting each other and they heal during the course of the movie. Now, one of the Avengers movies does that a little bit, but most of the other superhero movies fail. Captain America is a bore. Because he's just a lot of muscles and he's a stoic, he never changes. So these superhero stories that are lining up from the studios, they're falling and they're crashing and they're burning one after the other, unless they have a personal, embarrassing, wounded hero at the center who's really showing us his wound. That's the secret of a great superhero movie. But few studio movies do that. Because the way studios make their superhero movies now is they don't even hire writers. They think up action sequences and then they test them in Thousand Oaks movie theaters in the afternoon of a weekday. And if you like the action sequence, you say yes. If you don't, you say no on these little meters. And they assemble those sets of scenes as the entire movie. And that's just not going to give you a great film. But they're crashing and burning now. Personal stories are always what sell. Studios always feel like they've found a formula that doesn't require writers. They're always trying to take writers out of the equation and make it simply a product. But products sell because they're great. Stories sell because the product in it is flawed, right? That's the big difference. You can't sell a story like a product because products are supposed to be perfect and great. Well, in a story, it's about people's flaws and their embarrassments and their pain. And that's how you make a great story. And okay, so it's about what Ceci was saying earlier about personal wounds. Every story that you like as an audience is about that. Every story is about that personal wound. It always has been, it always will be. And that's all we do as story teachers, is we ask you, what's the wound of your hero? And how do they compensate for that wound at the beginning of the story? Because that compensation are your scenes. Here's an example. I had a wound when I was a teenager. My mommy didn't love me, and so because of that, I had body dysmorphia. I thought my lips were the size of Mick Jagger, and that was how my core wound manifested itself. So you can say, well, so what, Peter? That's for a therapist couch. But the way it manifested itself in my life was I hid in a bathroom to eat lunch. I wouldn't kiss a girl during the day. I wore white chapstick, all to hide my lips. I stopped playing the saxophone. Each one of those compensations for my core wound is a great scene in a movie. You can see me hiding in a bathroom, unable to eat in front of other people. You can see me turning the lights out to kiss a girl. You can see me putting on white lipstick, chapstick, because I wanted my mouth to be smaller. So if you can't think up interesting scenes for your movie or your television show, you gotta go into what wounded you and what you're doing in secret to compensate for that. We all have secret lives, and they're all about compensating for our wounds. That's the action that will make a great story, whether it's film or television. And a lot of writers just don't know what to say. What does my character do next? Look at your wounds. We all have 10 or 12, and they will guide you into actually making and manufacturing compelling scenes.